Well, good morning and welcome to the Market Carver. Hope you're having an outstanding day and a great week. Cool Indiana, a little sunny, happy day. Say, interesting stuff going on in the market. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about Japan and things that are going on. But the big number right now is the ISM number. It's one of those numbers that Adam keys on. Remember, anything above 50 is expansion. Anything below that is a contraction. We just came in with a reading of 49. Now remember, we've talked about this before. The economy and the market are two separate things. But what this market's going to play off is the trajectory that's going on inside of the economic world. I think the biggest news that we're not talking about in the Market Carver this week is the fact that Bill Gross, the largest bond manager in the world, lost about 1.9% of his fund in May. The bond universe right now is very, very scary in a lot of ways. He got it wrong in may have it right in June. So far, it looks like he knew more than what he thought, but the market penalized him over that period of time. We shall see. Anyhow, lots to talk about. Fundamentally, one of the ugliness parts of the market, and it's why we tell people that you can't just fundamentally look at a stock or a company to make a determination. Alcoa doing a fine job as a company. Some of their things, even according to analysts, are in the right areas, the right decisions. But Moody's came out and said, hey, based on the commodity cycle, prices that we're seeing that are out there, regardless of how well Alcoa is behaving, we're going to have to give a debt to downgrade their debt. It doesn't seem fair, it doesn't seem right, but it is how the process works. There's more than just fundamentals, hence we have the four legs in the stool. Now what took the debt down doesn't necessarily have to take the equity down. They usually go to some degree together. We'll have to watch as we continue to go through the world, but there is clearly a break in some of the commodity cycles that are out there. Big worries for Australia, some for China, and other places of that nature. The 10-year Oreo, the sweet spot's in the middle. We've talked a lot about this in the allocation meeting, probably the last 3 weeks. And as you know, fixed income bonds are actually negative for the year. The short end of the treasuries, this is really hard to explain even with a whiteboard, but the short end of the treasuries, the 1 to 3 year, the Federal Reserve can kind of anchor them, if you will. We're starting to watch that 7 to 10 year treasury, the space where individual investors tend to go, start to grow and run away. On Monday, early in the morning when the ISM numbers came out, we literally watched the 10-year be off about 3.5% for the day at that point in time. And the 20-year, which should be off more based on everything that you know, was only off 2.5%. And that's because of some of that craziness that's in that middle spot, or the Oreo part, if you will, of the cookie. We will continue to watch it, but fixed income is a challenging thing right now for a lot of people in a lot of ways. On the institutional leg, John Bogle, well thought of, well known, built Vanguard pretty much from the bottom up. Jack was a big believer in the mutual fund environment. They really didn't like exchange traded funds when they first came out. But numbers are numbers. And back in the 1960s when he was starting to build Vanguard, you had about 1% of the mutual funds every year that failed. They got moved into another fund or got absorbed because of lack of interest, lack of performance, what have you. And now the numbers are about 7% a year this last decade. And he called it deplorable, as would anybody else, that you've got that many of them that are faltering. The mutual fund industry is not the same beast that it was 15 or 20 years ago, and you all know that. You've heard us talk about it before. It's just interesting to hear the greatest fan, if you will, ever beginning to have that conversation. Japan, boy was I wrong. Well, not really. What we were talking about was the Nikkei and the drive to drive the stock price higher and higher and higher. The Prime Minister of Japan has sworn to get the value of the yen down. He's done a job doing that. And at the same time propelled the Nikkei, the stock market, up. Well, eventually the game's out and then people catch on and go, hey, this can't last forever. Well, no kidding. And the Nikkei is quickly coming back, about a 19%. 7 to 5% moves in a day, actually not even rare. There have been a couple 5% days, a lot of 3% days, up and down, a lot of volatility, getting close to entering bear market territory again. And so that's one of those rules that we have. You know, I can manage my emotions far easier than I can manage the market. But we have the discipline of the four-legged stool to keep us out of grief, keep us out of trouble. Glad it's here for us. There are days when I would like to chase some of the returns that we're seeing in some of the crazy places, but I don't need to wake up with the market down 7%, and that's precisely what happened in Japan. Hey, if there's somebody that you know that would like to you think might be interested in the Market Carver Lite, you know, we do the longer version for you guys every week. But for your friends, people that are out there, just to get a brief synopsis, we talk about 2 legs each week, certainly not the 4, and we don't go into near the detail. But I'd be happy to put them on the list. If you know somebody, please let us know. We'd be happy to share it with them. If you're out and about Saturday morning, join the radio show 9 to 10 on WQME, 10 to 11 on Shine 99 on Sunday mornings. Talking a little bit about education, some of the gifting. I'm sure you've got all sorts of graduations and weddings that you have to go to this June. So do I. Go ahead and the gifting part's on there, and a little bit about college planning as well. We appreciate you joining us. If there's anything we can do to be of service, please don't hesitate to let us know. God bless. Have a great week. We'll talk to you again soon.